Hey everyone, let's do this again. Welcome to the second episode of This Is My Angle. Today we're going to talk about something that may be a little bit of a surprise for you people, but now that I think about it, this is the second episode, so really everything is probably a surprise. Now, I want you to excuse me because I have notes because I'm new to this and I feel like I'm going to forget something. Today, we are going to talk about the Airstream Bambi. Now, hold on. I don't want you turning off right now thinking, oh my God, this is another Airstream video. I'm not some rich hipster kid who has a base camp and I'm going on a ski trip, and I'm not some retiree that has the ability to travel across the country. I don't want you to think that. What I want you to do is strap in and think about something a little bit different, something that might relate to you, something that you might like, or just something that hasn't been presented to you before. So, for all you know, it's something you like. So, without further ado, this is my angle, and I am James Angley. All right, let's get into it. As mentioned before, this is going to be about the Airstream Bambi. Pulling it up on the screen right there. That way you are able to see it in case you've never seen one before. There are two different versions of this if you really think about it. There's the Airstream Bambi, and then the more luxurious version, which is the Caravelle or Caravelle. I'm not sure. I'm not an Airstream guy officially yet. Airstream, let me know. The differences are the Caravelle is a little bit more luxurious. They have things like ducted air conditioning and these cool stainless steel shields, which I actually think would be kind of cool on this version when you hear me talk about what I think would be good. But let's get into what the Airstream Bambi is. Airstream Bambi is more or less the entry level Airstream. This is the one that you buy when you want to dip your toe into the Airstream world. Now, let's be honest, Airstreams are Americana. They are a staple in this country. They are something that you've seen, you've known, and whether or not you are a big fan of people going around in travel trailers, when you see an Airstream, you know what it is. You know what it looks like. You've seen the silver bullets going down the road, and you think, man, that's kind of cool. In the past, I never understood anything about this. I didn't think it was cool at all. But as I get older, I realize this is a luxury yacht for the road. Now, sure, you're not sitting in it while your captain's piloting along. You're kind of towing it along places, and then you get into this beautiful interior. And one of the cool things as I've been digging into it is everything on that interior was brought in through that little tiny Airstream door. So when it comes to modifying, changing things, repairing things, you know that that cabinet that you're about to take off the wall is going to fit out of that door. They didn't just install everything and drop it down onto a frame. It's made to be fixed. It's made to last forever. That is something that in modern times we're missing out on. We are missing out on building a product that we expect to be there in 20, 30, 40 years. There's a lot of Airstreams that are passed down through generations. Unfortunately, nobody handed me an Airstream, so I'm really hoping to push this narrative, and then maybe, who knows, Airstream's going to make this cool Airstream model and give me a huge discount. Again, Airstream, please. Anywho, let's get onto it here. The Airstream Bambi 16RB. That is a 16-foot camper, and there's a reason why I'm kind of focusing on this. 16 feet, very lightweight, can be towed with any mid-sized truck, any SUV. Think of a Toyota 4Runner, Ford Ranger, whatever you're thinking, all the way up to a larger vehicle. And the reason I'm kind of focusing on this is its size. It's a shorter Airstream. Its weight, it's very light. As mentioned before, it can be towed by a mid-sized vehicle, but also it still has that upscale look. It still has that upscale feel to it. And here's where it takes a turn. I picture these being the luxury overlanding vehicle in the future. I know some people who know about Airstreams are looking at me thinking, like, well, the base camp already exists. Sure, the base camp exists, but the base camp is good for like two people, despite whatever internet blog might tell you that you could fit a whole group of four people in here. It is a small, tight vehicle. It's basically a toy hauler. It's very rugged, very rudimentary. It is good for the task that it was designed for, but I think we should just upscale this a little bit more. Let's talk about an Airstream Bambi with a lift. Let's go a little bit deeper. Some bars that go around the outside of it, protected against tree rub. Maybe we go back to that caravel that's a little bit higher scale, and we just take those stainless steel guards on the front of it, protected against branches and rocks and things that you're going to counter outdoors. Let's strap some max tracks to the side of it. On the rear bumper, which by the way is hilariously weak, we're going to have to reinforce that. Let's throw some off-road tires on the back, something that matches what's on the vehicle that's towing it. Be cool if we could change the bolt pattern to match the vehicle that's towing it. So God forbid your tire on your truck gets a flat, take it off the back of your camper and throw it on that. I think that's just something that's missing in this off-road overlanding world. It'd be very cool if we have interchangeable hubs that match with the vehicle that you're towing it with. That way, when you're in a pinch, you could use the spare off of your trailer to go onto your truck. When it comes to getting home, it's kind of important. That's what I think. I don't know. I think there's definitely an opportunity here. I think it would be cool if they really looked into the overlanding world, which is obviously a hot topic right now and it's very popular. I mean, hell, they're talking about bringing back the Nissan Xterra. Haven't seen one of those since, I don't know, 2015. It would be awesome to bring the Airstream into this world. I think luxury when I think Airstream, but I like to think about what Jeremy Clarkson said when it was that special where they went to the North Pole. Let's stop thinking about all these crazy difficult things that people have done, and let's start thinking about how much easier it is to do it in a vehicle today. It'd be really cool to bring Airstream into that world. So, as mentioned, we lifted it. We added protection. Sorry for that beep in the background. We've added two, not one, two off-road spare tires. And again, the bolt pattern matches the vehicle that's towing it. So you got a spare for the trailer, you got a spare for the truck, etc. I think this is like a big opportunity that they could be missing. Another thing I think would be kind of cool, adding an air conditioning unit that's not on the roof. An air conditioning unit on the roof is just begging for a branch, any sort of low hanging tree limb to just rip off, damage, destroy. You go under some sort of weird cave. I don't know. Haven't seen an overlanding before, but maybe it's happened when people drive through that cool tree, the redwood up in California. Who knows? Maybe it'd rip it off. So let's take that big, huge air compressor that's on the top, that air conditioning compressor. Take it off the top. Let's hang it on the tongue where propane tanks usually go. We could add a propane tank right behind it. Let's hang it on the tongue. Let's route the air conditioning unit from the front into the Airstream and have some ducted vents. All right, the more I talk about this, the more I'm saying it's sounding like Caravel. Caravel has ducted air conditioning units, but let's not get hung up on that. The reason I'm talking about the Caravel is because it is the cheap entry unit into the Airstream world, and I think that's what this could be. This is what the person who's cross shopping an Opus 15, which is $55,000, might be looking at. But they want something a little bit more upscale. They want something that's not a pop up camper. They want an actual camper that's going to be good for this. Another great thing that I realized about the Bambi is that you have a bedroom in the back. So you got a bed, you got a little curtain, In the middle, you have a little tiny bathroom, and then you have this nice little breakfast nook that you got in there. That breakfast nook, the table can be lowered. You can turn it into a secondary bed. Now, somebody like me who has 3 kids, who knows, maybe in the future we'll have more. I love the idea of having two complete full beds that I can put in my camper and still keep a very small footprint. In the future, I'd love to get into the EV world so we can delve into how that would, you know, become full circle with this. But right now, I mean, I have an F-150 Raptor, the 2012 SVT Raptor. Big engine, powerful truck. Towing capacity is only 8,000 pounds. You're looking at one of these Bambis. Sure, they're only whatever 3,500 pounds. I'm not sure exactly, but you start adding in lithium ion batteries. You start adding in the dual spare tire carrier, max tracks, propane, air compressor on the tongue. All of a sudden, next thing you know, you got a 6,000 pound camper. You're reaching the edge of my capacity with this thing, which is exactly what I'm talking about. You get a 6,000 pound camper and you got a family of 5, all of a sudden, my Raptor does all of that. I don't have to get a new vehicle. If I had a Ford Ranger, which I've had in the past, it would do all of that. I think this is a sweet spot, and I think it's a really missed opportunity. As mentioned, we're going to rip that air compressor off the roof. Let's put some flexible, molded to the body solar panels on the roof. Let's have them charging into a charge controller the lithium ion batteries on the back or under the beds, under the benches, the nooks. Let's try and pack batteries into this thing in an area that's inconspicuous. Maybe you lose some storage, but you gain the ability to boondock. I want you to picture this. Picture this beautiful silver bullet, shiny Airstream sitting on top of a mountain, one of those beautiful Land Rover Defenders, towing it up there. You're in the woods, you have a view over a valley, and the only way you're able to get there is because of your off road vehicle and your off road trailer. And you're sitting there in luxury making coffee on a morning, watching a bald eagle fly overhead. As mentioned, this is a little bit about Americana. I think there is just a huge missed opportunity here. Be kind of cool actually to see one of those new the Scout Terra or Travelers towing that. I'm a huge fan of those Scouts. Speaking about EVs, imagine the Airstream concept that they made. They had an electric Airstream that had its own motor on board, its own basically a Tesla power unit that would help drive the motor as you're towing it, which would reduce the load on your electric vehicle that's towing it. So you could tow further. You could meet your regular range expectation that's on your EV truck, your EV SUV. You're towing it with a Rivian. You're gonna meet the same amount. Say you have 300 miles of range. You're gonna stay at that 300 miles of range because the RV is helping you, or the travel trailer is helping you pull it along. You're reducing that drag. That would be amazing. Plus the fact that when you get to camp, pull out your app and you're able to just kind of park it where you want it to be. You unhook it from your truck and then you can go off, explore the area, come back to your camper. Solar panels got it all charged up. So you're ready to just go to sleep with your uh, TV on, use your microwave to heat up some top ramen, whatever it might be. Who knows the luxury version of that because I am not rich enough to understand what that is. I just I think there's again a big opportunity here. Over the years we've seen these airstreams traveling across the freeways, going across Route 66. This is the 50s, the 60s. They are just an American icon. And let's bring it up into the modern world. Let's not only modernize it with LED lights and off road capabilities and lithium ion batteries, but let's also honor how beautiful these things are. We have people buying these and turning them into Airbnbs, renting them out to places. We have people full time living in this. If you talk to certain celebrities, like Matthew McConaughey uses
All
this as
right,
his
all
camper,
right, all
his
right.
trailer when he's going on site to different movie sites. It's so cool. They are just honestly the token cool camper. There's no other camper out there in the world that you look at and you say, "Yep, that's what that is." But you're able to look at this and you're able to see it and you're able to know that this is an Airstream and this is important to me. So yeah, I think we should definitely discuss this. I'm gonna pop up on the screen here the final example of what I created on Gemini, which I know is AI slop, but I am not an artist. I am not capable of creating this kind of stuff. So I'm going to put it up on the screen and I want to know your thoughts. Do you think this is something that Airstream should build? Do you think that there's a market for this? You tell me, because personally, I think this is what we need to build. I think this is something that there's a market for. I think that this is a huge opportunity for Airstream, and I would love to see them make that. So comment, like, subscribe. This is my angle, and I'm James Angley. Thank you.